So I'm finding a bit of a danger in growing my YouTube channel that I kind of wasn't expecting. And that's feeling like it's easy to get caught in a rut. It can be pretty simple to find something that you can figure out how to do and then just kind of stick with it and not want to do anything different. But the problem with that is that YouTube is opening up other opportunities that kind of seems to have promise of being able to appeal to different types of people and broaden that audience and hopefully grow interaction with the channel. And if I'm not willing to step out and try some of those new things, I'm not going to have those opportunities. Are you in that boat too? So even though I'm in my mid-50s, I refuse to be crotchety and old in my approach to YouTube, and I'm working on improving my approaches to these 5 different types of videos that can work well on YouTube, and I'm learning some of the positives and negatives of all of them, and I wanted to share them with you. So if you've only been posting long-form videos on your YouTube channel, I think you're missing 3 or maybe even 4 powerful video formats that YouTube wants us to use. Today, I want to show you how each one works, what to watch out for, and how to reach more people with lower stress. So we're starting here with long-form videos. It's YouTube's classic bread and butter, and I think it's the format that most of us are the most familiar with. Long-form videos typically run for 4 minutes or longer and take deep dives into topics. And now that more and more people are watching YouTube on televisions, long-form videos can be an hour or several hours long even now. They're horizontal videos, and they're best used for things like tutorials and talking heads like this where you're explaining some things, and storytelling, and just stuff where you're sharing a lot more details. The time that comes from a long-form video gives you time to establish yourself as more of an authority on a topic, and it just kind of gives you the time to also build a greater connection with your audience. I think there are some obvious benefits to long-form videos. Functionally, they're crucial in building watch time that helps the YouTube algorithm want to push you out the longer that people watch your videos. The time gives you opportunity to build trust with your audience, and it gives you more of an avenue just to go in depth with what you're talking about. And with how YouTube works, the long-form videos give you the chance to write descriptions that allow you to offer more details, that allow you to offer outside links, that allow you to give your viewers more ways to connect with you just by what you write below the video. Now, of course, there are some drawbacks. They take longer to script out. They take longer to create. They take longer to edit. But as we move into our second format of video, I want to emphasize what you can take from your long-form video to get twice the value as you build your channel. And that's by using your long-form video to create shorts. Now, shorts can be a little controversial on YouTube, and we'll get into that. But I just want to show you how you can easily compound and multiply all the time and effort that you put into creating a long-form video to easily create shorts by using Nexus clips. So you've created and edited and posted your long-form video, and just with a few clicks from that point, Nexus clips can transform that video into several shorts that you can then post as YouTube shorts on your channel. And if you're using other platforms too, you can use those same videos to post on Instagram and TikTok. Now, the more that I'm learning about YouTube, the more I'm learning that shorts are becoming a bigger and bigger deal and that YouTube is placing a bigger and bigger emphasis on them. As I'm learning more and more about YouTube, it's becoming kind of obvious that YouTube is putting a bigger and bigger emphasis on shorts all the time. I don't want to create shorts in and of themselves. I want to use the long-form videos that I'm already creating to pull from for them. But I don't know the parts that's going to make the most sense to do that. So that's where something like nexusclips.com comes in clutch, because it's got this advanced AI that's built to be able to pick out the portions of your long-term videos that it thinks are going to do the best as shorts. So in that magical AI fashion, Nexus Clips scans your long-form videos and detects the parts where it sees high engagement, and that's where your energy is higher, your important insights are really coming through. And it then transforms those segments into ready-to-use YouTube shorts. And on top of that, it gives you a ranking of high to low numerically with what clips that it thinks has the best chance of actually getting traction and going viral. Nexus Clips then easily solves the how do I add captions to this video problem with just a click of a button as it transcribes the video and adds your captions right to it. Posting shorts might have a little controversy associated with it, which I'll get into next, but let me be clear, the how-to portion of creating your shorts is made a lot easier by using what I use, a Nexus Clips. You can use the link in my video description below to get yourself a 10% discount off of a subscription to Nexus Clips All you need to use is the code Diane. I hope you'll give it a try. Okay, so why is there this controversy over YouTube Shorts? Well, in short, sorry I couldn't help myself. There has been some observation that Shorts might hurt long-form video views because in lots of cases, people who watch Shorts and people who watch long-form might be two very different kinds of people with two very different kinds of viewing habits. But in the last few months especially, YouTube has been very emphatic about pushing out the information that they actually have two separate algorithms, one for short videos, one for long-form videos. So the idea of those things being mixed up and sending people who only want to watch shorts to watch your long forms and they're not interested, that seems to be something that is being dismissed and is going away the more that YouTube is making the definition of how they're handling things here. And then seeing big channels like Mr. Beast and even sort of in the YouTube educational realm, Think Media, really emphasize having long form and short videos on the same channel seems to support that and makes me feel better about incorporating that in my use too. So quickly, here are what I see as three big assets of using shorts on your channel. Shorts are designed for discovery. They're shown in a separate feed than what your long form videos are seen, and they're shown to people who've likely not seen your content before. When a short performs well, it often results in a spike in impressions and subscriber growth. You're attracting new eyes to your content. Now, I understand some of these people may not be ones that really want to just grab onto your long form stuff and go on that ride too, but some of them will be. Now, if you suddenly notice that the views on your long form videos drop after posting a short, I've noticed that on occasion. It's tempting to blame shorts for stealing the attention, but even if shorts don't directly boost your long form views, they're still expanding the audience pool from what you would have had you not posted that short to begin with. At some point, I think it's likely that if you get your title right and your thumbnails right and get a topic that person is going to be interested in, they are going to grab on and view down the line. I think it's just important that we're building the population of the people that YouTube will put in those two separate algorithms to bring your way. So why not capitalize on that potential, even if there are some bumps in the road sometimes? Number two, when you post a short, especially those that you repurpose from your long form video, you can put the link directly to that video on the short. And I can tell in my analytics that I do get audiences watching my longer form video and they came from the click on that short. And number three, I'm just going to show you. Here's the first thing that's happening when I open up YouTube on my phone. It's going directly to a shorts feed. It's the first thing that people see. Now, I don't know if that's universal for all mobile viewers, but I do know that from my audience, my analytics show me that the majority of my viewers are watching on their phones. So if the first thing that YouTube is going to show when they open up their phone is shorts, you better believe I'm trying to get my rear end in gear and having more of a presence there. And I encourage you to do the same. Okay, video type number three. And full disclosure, this is the one that intimidates me the most, and that is live video. Opening up a live stream via YouTube Studio gives you the opportunity to speak and be able to see comments come in and interact directly with your audience while you're talking. Now, you can decide to stick to a particular topic and have your entire live sort of center around that, or you can leave things wide open. And you can decide to promote it ahead of time and say, hey, I'm going to be on, Thursday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern time or something like that. And people can sort of plan ahead to be there. Or you can just jump in and go on live whenever you want to start and just be a surprise. Now, I have not done a live video yet, and I need to. And of course, like anybody who is doing this, I don't think I'm alone in saying that I have a fear that I'll go on live and not a person will show up and I will just be speaking to the empty internet and creating a video of which there is no interaction. It could happen, but if it did, I would live through it because there are still some benefits that come if that happens. Number one, you can use YouTube editors to chop off the beginning and the end. And so you have a better formed video that you can just have live as a long form video on your channel. You maybe give it a better title, you redo the thumbnail, and it's up there for a video that you didn't even have to do any other editing with. Obviously, then you can also repurpose the content in that, throw it into Nexus Clips and create some shorts from it. And it's a super easy way to be able to create content. So even if no one participates, it still has value. even though it would be a little uncomfortable. Now, my other hang up is practical, and that's that I use my iPhone to create my videos, and I would probably also want to use it to do a live stream. Now, my iPhone is chugging along with battery power that's maybe not as great as it used to be, and I'm not sure when I'm necessarily going to buy my new iPhone. So my little wireless mic connects to my phone with an adapter that plugs into the port. So that means I just can't plug it in while it's going. So I have to think through that. I have to figure out a solution because I don't want to start a live and have that really pull the power from my phone and have that battery power go down pretty quickly and just have my live die as a result of that. So I want to think through that. If you have any suggestions, I'd be glad to hear if you have any thoughts as to how to solve that problem too. But it's something that I need to get solved because I need to get myself on YouTube Live and be part of that format too and reap the benefits of it, but then also have the opportunity to connect with my audience in a greater way, which I really want to do. All right, fourth type of video that you can post on YouTube would be a vlog. And again, that's not one that I've done either, but I don't know that my content is really lending itself to that at some point. Once I start to broaden and expand and maybe just start into a little bit more lifestyle content, I can consider that. Now, a vlog is much more of a showing personal information. It's not just me sitting here talking like a talking head video like this. It's a lot of times showing a day in the life. It's showing a work day. It's showing a process that you're engaged in. It's showing something interesting. It's showing a day on a trip or a vacation that you might be on. They're generally not scripted out very much, and they have a different type of interest because it's kind of like to pull back the curtain and see the behind the scenes of what's happening. Now, though you don't have to script a lot ahead, vlogs, I think, do require more work in editing. It requires a lot of different types of shots than what you might normally do. It requires a lot of shorter shots that you would put together just to create that visual interest and intrigue in the vlog that you're doing. So that means, just practically, you probably want to feel a little bit more comfortable with your camera and feel a little bit more comfortable with editing before you try that. But if that's something you're interested in, branch out, try it, see how it goes. Now, finally, here's number 5. And I realize this might be stretching my topic a little bit, but because it's so important, I think it bears mentioning, and that is posting on your community tab on your channel. And that can still be posting a video, so it still counts. YouTube seems to have big plans to expand the function of the community tab so that your audience has the opportunity to really have an easier way to be able to connect with you, share their opinions with you, and just have regular interactions. I've used my community tab to do some polls, which have been super valuable to kind of extract some things that they want to hear from me, some ideas of where they are in their YouTube process, just so I know more of who I'm talking to and what levels they're at on things. And you can use that tab to post additional helpful resources. You can have some funny images on it. You can use it to promote the videos that you've already posted and to sort of set up things that are coming up to generate interest. Community, in and of its name, is obviously all about connection. And I really think that as time goes on, we're going to see our options expand as to how we can use that as YouTube puts more emphasis on it. Okay, so my goal here is to give you a bigger picture of the different formats that are available for you to consider on YouTube and hopefully pull us out, myself included, from the rut we might be in from only trying and using one. And it appears that the more we use, the more love we get from YouTube because the little different functions that they're pushing out and putting greater emphasis on, if we participate in that, they give us greater visibility. And that's what we need to have our channels grow. So here's what I want you to remember. Every different format on YouTube is a different type of doorway to let your viewers in. Long form builds connection. Shorts drive discovery. Lives build trust and authenticity. Vlogs give an eye into your life in a deeper way. And your community tab builds connection. And the best news is we can choose the paths that we want to take. And as we feel more comfortable with one, then we go to a next one and continue to grow from there. Keep showing up in the ways that feel doable for you and don't get stuck in just that one thing and not try the others and get the benefits that they might bring. Your story matters, your voice matters, and your audience is out there waiting to connect with you. So let's give every pathway possible for YouTube to bring them to us. Hey, I am rooting for your success, and I really think that this would be a great video for you to check out next. Thanks for watching.